sickness or malady, Yehovah, please strengthen them and cause them to be raised up from the sick bed. For we know that the dead praise not thee, nor any that go down into silence. So we ask you, Yehovah, that thou would even revive the children of thy people. I ask, Yehovah, that thou continue to be with those folks in Puerto Rico who are going through heartaches and pain and despair and not even knowing how they is going to be from day to day. We ask Yehovah that thou would even hear their cries and their supplications. We ask Yehovah that thou be with the people in Australia who are going through a lot, oh Yah, even the animals who are losing their lives. We know that thou givest life and that thou taketh it away. But we ask Yehovah that thou also be merciful, as it is one of your attributes, that merciful God. We ask Yehovah that thou continue to be with all the people in the earth who might be going through any type of suffering, any type of pain, especially with your people, oh Yah, who's scattered to the four corners of the earth, who's been downtrodden and beaten down more so than any other people in the earth. We ask Yehovah that thou would even hear our supplications, hear our cries, that thou bring us back to the land which thou promised our fathers, Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob, and that thou will restore us, oh Yah, back even to the state that we should be in. We ask this in the high, holy, divine name, Yehoshua. Hallelujah. 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 Amen. Amen. O Shema Yisrael, Yahuwah Elohim, Yahuwah Elohim, Yahuwah Elohim, O Shema Yisrael, Yahuwah Elohim, Elohim, Yahuwah Elohim, O Sing God's praise. Our hand is weak. How to gain the strength you see. Oh, make a big, send that power, glory. Open up, come on, y'all. part. And y'all do the no doubt Ben Yehuda part. That's okay? There we go. Let's go. Y'all know when to come in, right? After you hear the rock? Yeah. Let's go. 1, 2, 3, 4. Stronger than that. 2020. January 2020. Keep that one in mind. Hallelujah. Hallelujah. May be seated. Thanking the Most High God for this day, the Holy Shabbat day. So basically what's left in the book of Joshua is a lot of geography, right? So this is why we have the projector, because you're going to read a lot of names, and a lot of names don't make. I'm waiting for my son. He's supposed to be helping me out here, but like always, I'm up here by myself, not getting no help. So hopefully I can get him. We're going to open up the book of Joshua, chapter. What year chapter let's go, Joshua? So we're going to do 16. If I could get my son to come up here, you know he's supposed to help me out. So how y'all feeling? Y'all good? I need to come to this room more often. I seen what y'all was doing over here. That's almost like a sin. But it's a blessing that we could enjoy each other's company, and that we could be with each other. That's always a blessed thing. The Holy Shabbat day. All right. Let's go, my brother. Joshua 16. It's a lot of names. I got a few maps there, but of course he didn't set it up yet.
We're in the book of Joshua, the 16th chapter. Hallelujah.
Hallelujah.
And the lot for the children of Joseph went out from the Jordan at Jericho, at the waters of Jericho on the east, going up from Jericho through the hill country to the wilderness, even to Beit El.
To Beit El.
And they went out from Beit El Luz and passed along unto the border of the Archites to Atarot. And they went down westward to the border of the Yaphlelites, unto the border of Beit Horon, the Nether, even unto Gezer, and the goings out thereof were at the sea.
Obviously, it's hard to show this if you don't have a map to show it, because my son is not here helping me out with the map yet. But hopefully, when he gets back in here, I can show you all on the map. Let's go.
And the children of Joseph, Manasseh and Ephraim took their inheritance. And the border of the children of Ephraim, according to their families, was thus. Even the border of their inheritance eastwards was Atrot Adar unto Beit Horon the upper. And the border went out westward, Metah being on the north. And the border turned about eastward unto Taanach Shiloh, and passed along it on the east side of Yanoah. And it went down from Yanoah to Atarot into Naara and reached unto Jericho and went out at the Jordan.
So basically, they're breaking down the geography. This is a lot of geography, a lot of maps. So they're breaking down the geography of the children of Joseph, which is Ephraim and Manasseh. So when you look at the map, Manasseh has tribes on the other side of territory on the other side of the Jordan, right? Remember when we first came out, you had the Reuben, you had Gad, and half tribe of Manasseh. So half of Manasseh was on the other side of the Jordan before we entered into Jericho. The other half was on the actual landmass of Israel. Yes. On the actual landmass of Israel. So when you look at the breakdown of the children of Joseph, right? They actually had the most landmass per tribes, because Manasseh and Ephraim had basically 3 portions, right? Because the half tribe of Manasseh on one side of the Jordan, and the other tribe, the other half is on the other side of the Jordan, and then right below it you get a little sliver for Ephraim, right between Manasseh and Yehuda, right? That's Ephraim. And I don't know when it's going to start projecting, but as soon as it starts projecting, you might need to angle that up a little bit more. And you might have to put that on the chair so it doesn't fall. I did once. So let me move this to the side like this, because this is mainly geography. At some point it will start projecting. No, you're going to have to turn the light off with this. There you go. Lean this a little bit more up. Right. Look at something. No, but you gotta lean this. Tell me what I'm doing.
No, down.
Let me move the speaker.
Perfect.
Thank you, sir. All right. So what we have here? You got the pointer? All right, so
You want to start from the beginning?
yeah, you can start from the beginning.
You sure?
Yeah.
Joshua the 16th chapter, starting at the first verse. And the lot for the children of Joseph went out from the water at Jericho, at the waters of Jericho on the east, going up from Jericho through the hill country to the wilderness, even to Beit El.
So the waters of Jericho is right here. You see right here, that's the Jordan.
Yeah.
So that's the children of Joseph, right? This is Ephraim, and this is Manasseh. Let's go.
And it went out from Beit El Luz and passed along unto the border of the Archites to Atarot. And it went down westward to the border of the Yaphlelites, unto the border of Beit Haron, the Nether, even unto Gezer. And the goings out thereof were at the sea. And the children of Joseph, Manasseh, and Ephraim took their inheritance. And the border of the children of Ephraim, according to their families, was thus.
So right here, this is the sea. This is the Mediterranean over here. You can see it, it's a little bit blurry, but you see East Manasseh, this is on the other side of the Jordan. This is before we got into the actual landmass of Israel. So this is East Manasseh, this is West Manasseh, right here. This is Ephraim, this is their borders, right here, the Jordan and the Red Sea. So what we see a lot with how Israel inherited, a lot of it is by land, by water, right? Because we need a water source in order to drink, to grow our plants, to do all types. So we got rivers, we got the Jordan River, we got the Mediterranean Sea on the other side. Let us go.
Even the border of their inheritance eastwards was Atrot Adar, unto Beit Horon the upper. And the border went out westward, Metat being on the north, and the border turned about eastward unto Ta'anat Shiloh, and passed along it on the east of Yanoah. And it went down from Yanoah to Ataro, and to Naara, and reached unto Jericho, and went out at the Jordan. From Tapua,
Jordan right here. Go ahead.
From Tapua, the border went along westward to the brook of Cana, and the goings out thereof were at the sea. This is the inheritance of the tribe of the children of Ephraim, according to their families, together with the cities which were separated from the children of Ephraim, in the midst of the inheritance of the children of Manasseh, all the cities with their villages.
With their villages. Let's go.
And they drove not out the Canaanites that dwelt in Gezer, but the Canaanites dwelt in the midst of Ephraim unto this day, and became servants to do task work.
So what happened is, like all things, like Israelites, when the Most High, we made a promise to Moses that when we got into the land, that what we were going to do. Before these people came back, remember? When the promise was that, all right, if y'all going to go over, you got to drive all the people out of the land. Right? But obviously right here, they didn't drive all the people out of the land. They didn't kill them. We weren't supposed to make pacts with them or anything. But we left them around because we always think that I have a better idea. You know, we could just make them drawers of water and people who hewers of wood, who cut down wood. You know, we always think that that we're better than the Most High God, and this ends up biting us in the behind later in history. Let us go.
Chapter 17, hallelujah.
Hallelujah.
And this was the lot for the tribe of Manasseh, for he was the firstborn of Joseph.
He was the firstborn of Joseph.
As for Machir, the firstborn of Manasseh, the father of Gilead, because he was a man of war, therefore he had Gilead and Bashan. And the lot was for the rest of the children of Manasseh, according to their families, for the children of Abiezer, and for the children of Helek, and for the children of Ashriel, and for the children of Shechem, and for the children of Hefer, and for the children of Shemitah. These were the male children of Manasseh, the son of Joseph, according to their families.
According to their families. So it's speaking about the generations of Joseph and their children. Let's go.
But Zelophehad, the son of Hefer, the son of Gilad, the son of Machir, the son of Manasseh, had no sons, but daughters. And these are the names of his daughters: Machlah, Noah, Hoglah, Milcah, and Tirzah.
Who remembers the situation with the daughters of Zelophehad? Right. They didn't have. He didn't have any sons. But they said our father wasn't one that died because of the evil and the wickedness that was happening. He just died of old age. Right? So should we not inherit? And Moses went before the Most High God, and he said, surely these women shall inherit, for their father, in behalf of their father. So it shows in Israel that women do inherit. But what they could not do is, because now we see that the land is broken down by tribes.
Right.
So what they couldn't do is marry outside of the tribe. They had to marry within the tribe of Manasseh, because if they married a Benjamite, Benjamite is gonna own in Manasseh, and the Most High God wanted these territory to stay exclusively to the tribes. So it showed that possession do change, because although she might be the inheritor, once she has children, she has those sons automatically become of that tribe. You know what I'm saying? And therefore, the Benjamite man who marries the Manassehite woman, who doesn't have any brothers to inherit, right? Automatically, that land is going to become a Benjamite land by default. So this is what's happening with these daughters. Let's go.
Verse 4. And they came near before Eleazar the priest, and before Joshua the son of Nun, and before the princes, saying, Jehovah commanded Moshe to give us an inheritance among our brethren. Therefore, according to the commandment of Jehovah, he gave them an inheritance among the brethren of their father. And there fell 10 parts of Manasseh beside the land of Gilad and Bashan, which is beyond the Jordan, because the daughters of Manasseh had an inheritance among his sons. And the land of Gilad belonged unto the rest of the sons of Manasseh.
The rest of the sons of Manasseh. So they had an inheritance, and the rest of the sons of Manasseh had an inheritance within the land. Let's go.
And the border of Manasseh was beginning from Asher, Mikmetah, which is before Shechem, and the border went along to the right hand unto the inhabitants of Tappuah, the land of Tappuah.
So hold on for a second. So the border of Manasseh on the west side starts from Asher. You see up here, this sliver of land up here? I know it's a little bit blurry, but that's Asher. Right? So it starts up here from Asher. This is the Mediterranean Sea on this side. It starts from up here. Let's go.
The land of Tappuah belonged to Manasseh, but Tappuah on the border of Manasseh belonged to the children of Ephraim. And the border went down
here to Ephraim. Right? So it's giving you from I guess the two longest points. Right? From up here to down here. Let's go.
And the border went down into the brook of Kanah, southward of the brook by cities which belong to Ephraim, among the cities of Manasseh.
All down here.
This border, and they reached to Asher on the north, and to Yissaschar on the east.
On the east, right here. So this is their border, from Asher to Yissaschar, down here to Ephraim, and they go out to the sea. This is the Mediterranean Sea once again. Let's go.
And Manasseh had in Yissaschar and in Asher Beit Shan, and its towns, and Eblim and its towns, and inhabitants of Dor and its towns, and inhabitants of Ain-Dor and its towns, and inhabitants of Ta'anak and its towns, and inhabitants of Megiddo and its towns, even the three regions.
Megiddo, Ta'anak, Beishan, Tirzah, Samir, Seguen, and Piraton. Go ahead.
And yet the children of Manasseh could not drive out the inhabitants of those cities, but the Canaanites were resolved to dwell in that land. And it came to pass when the children of Israel were waxing strong, that they put the Canaanites to taskwork, but did not utterly drive them out.
Did not drive them out. Once again, let's go.
And the children of Joseph spoke unto Joshua, saying, Why hast thou given me but one lot and one part for an inheritance, seeing I am a great people, for as much as Jehovah hath blessed me thus? And Joshua said unto them, If thou be a great people, Get thee up to the forest, and cut down for thyself there in the land of the Perizzites and of the Rephaim, since the hill country is too narrow for thee. And the children of Joseph said, the hill country will not be enough for us. And all the Canaanites that dwelt in the land of the valley have chariots of iron, both they who are in Beit Shan and its towns, and they who are in the valley of Yisrael. And Joshua spoke unto the house of Joseph, even to Ephraim and to Manasseh, saying, thou art a great people, and hast great power. Thou shalt not have one lot only, but the hill country shall be thine. For though it is a forest, thou shalt cut it down, and the goings out thereof shall be thine. But thou shalt drive out the Canaanites, though they have chariots of iron, and though they be strong.
So what's happening is, basically Ephraim came to Joshua. Was like, why we got to share with Manasseh? Right? Basically. So he said, y'all are great people. Go take what you want.
Right.
So now we're going to begin to see where Ephraim cuts out his piece. Right? Because it's a half tribe of Manasseh. It is Manasseh and Ephraim. Joseph got a double portion in Israel.
Right.
Let's go.
Chapter 18. And the whole congregation of the children of Israel assembled themselves together at Shiloh, and set up the tent of meeting there. And the land was subdued before them. And there remained among the children of Israel 7 tribes, which had not yet received their inheritance.
So the tabernacle was set up in Shiloh, which is in Ephraim right here. You see it right here? So this is basically, whenever you come into a land, whenever you about ready to set up shop first, you got to set up the place established to where you're going to praise God.
Right.
That's first and foremost. So they put up that tent that they had in the wilderness. They put it up right here in Shiloh. Let's go.
And Joshua said unto the children of Israel, how long are ye slack to go and to possess the land which Jehovah the God of your fathers hath given you? Appoint for you 3 men for each tribe, and I will send them, and they shall arise and walk through the land and describe it according to their inheritance. And they shall come unto me, and they shall divide it into 7 portions. Judah shall abide in his border on the south, and the house of Joseph shall abide in their border on the north. Ye shall describe the land into 7 portions, and bring the description hither to me, and I will cast lots for you here before Jehovah our God.
So everybody basically, a lot of, let me see, how many is that? That's 5 tribes already had their portion. So the other tribes is like, we don't got anything. Judah got his portion. Manasseh, Ephraim, Gad, Reuben, they got their portion. And it's like, but we don't have, our portion. So what we going to do? So Joshua told them, send out some surveyors of the land and come back with plans. Now how you going to break the land up in 7 different parts so that everyone gets a fair amount of land. Let us go.
For the Levites have no portion among you, for the priesthood of Jehovah is their inheritance. And Gad and Reuben and the half tribe of Manasseh have received their inheritance beyond the Jordan eastward.
Right, over here. Gad, Reuben, and the half tribe of Manasseh already received their portion on this side. Let's go.
Which Moshe the servant of Jehovah gave them. And the men arose and went, and Joshua charged them that went to describe the land, saying, go and walk through the land and describe it and come back to me. And I will cast lots for you here before Jehovah in Shiloh.
Go describe the land. We need some architects, some surveyors of land that could establish and break down exactly what is it that needs to be done in order to break up this land so everybody gets a fair share. Let's go.
And the men went and passed through the land and described it by cities into 7 portions in the book. And they came to Joshua into the camp at Shiloh. And Joshua cast lots for them in Shiloh before Jehovah. And there Joshua divided the land into the children of Israel according to their divisions.
Let's go.
And the lot of the tribe of the children of Benjamin came up according to their families. And the border of their lot went out between the children of Yehudah and the children of Joseph.
You see, the children of Yehudah, this is Benjamin, right here. The children of Yehudah and the children of Joseph, which is Ephraim. Remember, Ephraim and Manasseh are the children of Joseph, right? So Benjamin is right in between here. Right in between here. So later in our history, Benjamin is counted as, whenever they say the kingdom of Judah, when the kingdoms were separated, the 10 tribes and Benjamin, they were separated they were counted as the southern kingdom, which is Yehudah and Benjamin. Let's go.
And their border on the north side was from the Jordan, and the border went up to the side of Jericho on the north, and went up through the hill country westward. And the goings out thereof were at the wilderness of Beit Aven. And the border passed along from thence to Luz, to the side of Luz.
So they came from the Jordan. This is exactly what the book is breaking down. Their land was from the Jordan. This is the Jordan River right here. To, what is that, Bethel? To Bethel, which is loose, right? And then over here by the wilderness, right next to the territory of Dan. Let's go.
The same is Beit El southward. And the border went down to Atrot Adar by the mountain that lieth on the side of Beit Horon, the Nevan. And the border was joined and turned about on the west side southward, from the mountain that lieth before Beit Horon southward. And the goings out thereof were at Kiryat Baal. The same is Kiryat Yearim.
Right here, Kiryat Yearim. This is the south region of Benjamin. Let's go.
A city of the children of Yehuda. This was the west side. And the south side was from the uttermost part of Kiryat Yearim. And the border went out westward and went out to the fountain of the waters of Nephtorah. And the border went down to the uttermost part of the mountain that lieth before the valley of the son of King Non, which is in the vale of Rephaim northward.
Right.
And it went down to the valley of Hinnom to the side of the Jebusite southward, and went down to Ain Rogel.
And Rogel, let's go. It's a lot of towns and cities that are not listed.
Right.
It's just a lot. It's like trying to describe every neighborhood in Brooklyn, or try to describe every city and every town or in New York City. It's impossible to fit it all in a map and for it to be comprehensible. So you just got to use your imagination and see how the landmass is broken up, and see it in, you know, with the few names that they do have there, what the book is trying to convey to us. Let's go.
And it was joined on the north and went out at Ain Shemesh, and went out to Gelilot, which is over against the ascent of Adumim. And it went down to the stone of Bohan, the son of Reuben. And it passed along to the side over against the Arabah northward, and went down unto the Arabah.
So right here, down by the sons of Reuben, right, which is what connects, well, what separates them is the Jordan River and the Dead Sea, right? The Jordan River flows into the Dead Sea. Let's go.
And the border passed along to the side of Beit Hoglah northward, and the goings out of the border were at the north bay of the Salt Sea, at the south end of the Jordan. This was the south border.
The Salt Sea is the Dead Sea, what's known as the Dead Sea. Let's go.
And the Jordan was to be the border of it on the east side. This was the inheritance of the children of Benjamin by the borders that were round about according to their families. Now the cities of the tribe of the children of Benjamin according to their families were Jericho, and Beit Hoglah, and Emet Keziz, and Beit Araba, and Zemarayim, and Beit El, and Avim, and Para, and Oprah, and Kephar Ammona, and Athmi, and Geba, 12 cities with their villages. Gibeon and Ramah Be'erot, and Mizpeh and Kephira, and Moza, and Rechem, and Ir-Pe'el, and Tarala, and Zelah, and Eleph. And the Jebusite, the same is Jerusalem, Gibeah and Kiryat, 14 cities with their villages. This is the inheritance of the children of Benjamin, according to their families. Hallelujah.
Hallelujah. So, just to give you an idea of what we're reading, so you don't be totally lost as to what we're looking at. So, this right here is a map of North Africa and the Middle East, right? Israel in the spectrum of things is somewhere in here. You read the name right here, Israel and part in Jordan. We like the landmass of Israel is like a speck in comparison to all the countries that are surrounding it. Right. But it's also called the navel of the earth, right? It's located in Northeast Africa, right? When you look at Israel, Israel is sitting on the African tectonic plate, right? And the only thing that separates the landmass of Israel to North Africa is they built a canal called the Suez Canal, which is, you can see somewhere right over here that they made the separation, right? So today they call Israel the Middle East, but it doesn't sit on the Asiatic tectonic plate. It sits on the African tectonic plate, right? That's the plates that move underneath the earth. And I don't know what kind of class is that they teach you that. It's science, geography, right? Geology? Geology. So when you look at Egypt, right? We made the pilgrimage from Egypt, which was up here. We were somewhere up here, and it was supposed to take us 11-day journey just to come into Israel. But because we forsook the Most High God and we didn't put trust in Him, right? We had to go the long route, right? We came down all the way where it says the Red Sea, right? To the Red Sea down here, and we had to cross through here, right? We were somewhere down here by the Red Sea, and we had to end up, that wilderness had to be somewhere in Saudi Arabia somewhere. And the land that we know is Saudi Arabia. So we hear about the Saudis today. So today, the U.S. is in conflict with what country? Iran. They're all the way over here. Iran, Iraq, this is where the Persians and the Medes were at. Right? This is all the region of the Persians and the Medes. When we read about Esther and we read about that history, this is where they came from. This is also where Abraham came from this region over here. So what Abraham did was he came from up down here, he went up here with his family, and then he came south to the land of Israel. That's what we read in Genesis. What we finished reading in Genesis was Abraham's journey, it was Isaac's journey, it was Jacob's journey, and this was all the journey. It was a back and forth. They left from Ur of the Chaldees, they went up to Haran, which is southern Turkey, right? And then they came down to the land of Canaan. So all these countries right here today, Syria is in conflict also. The U.S. has bases in Iraq, Afghanistan over here. This is one of their allies, Saudi Arabia. You got Jordan down here, they got bases in Jordan, and so forth and so on. So when we look at Africa, you know, this is the west coast of Africa. We see Spain, Italy, and you know, all the Mediterranean, all the countries that are connected by the Mediterranean. And Portugal is, I knew it was right here. And over here, these guys right here are the guys who started the transatlantic slave trade. This little piece of land right here, right? And then these guys followed, right? They came down to the coast, down here. After the children of Israel have been dispersed to the four corners of the earth, right? We dispersed all into West Africa. We went into, some of us remained in Persia, right, which is Iraq. After we were taken over there, we were in captivity during the time of Esther. But some of us traveled along this route, and we ended up down here in Nigeria. We ended up in all these places all down here. And then these little guys down here came down here. These two guys came down, all the way down here, and then brought us across the Atlantic Ocean. Hallelujah. Hallelujah. Thank you the Most High God for this day. And I pray that you got something out of the lesson. Turn on that light. And I know sometimes it could be boring, but you have to be able to show people exactly what is it that we're saying when it comes to the names. All right? So open and pray that the Most High God bless us all. I guess we could go through the prayers and then we'll be good. Let us all rise and finish out. Pray that the Most High God be with us all. Hallelujah. First, we're going to start out with the book of Exodus, chapter 20. And God spake all these words, saying, I am Yahweh thy God, which have brought thee out of the land of Egypt, out of thy house of bondage. Thou shalt have no other gods before me. Thou shalt not make unto thee any graven image, or any likeness of anything that's in the heaven above, or that's in the earth beneath, or that's in the water under the earth. Thou shalt not bow down thyself to them, nor serve them. For I, Yahweh thy God, am a jealous God, visiting the iniquities of the fathers upon the children, unto the third and fourth generation of them that hate me, and show mercy unto the thousands of them that love me, and keep my commandments. Thou shalt not take the name of Yahweh thy God in vain, for Yahweh will not hold the guiltless that take his name in vain. Remember the Shabbat day to keep it holy. 6 days shall thy labor and do all thy work, but the 7th day is a Shabbat unto Yahweh thy God. And then thou shalt not do any work. Thou, nor thy son, nor thy daughter, nor thy manservant, nor thy maidservant, nor thy cattle, nor thy stranger that is within thy gates. For in 6 days Jehovah made heaven and earth, the sea and all land and men, and rested on the 7th day. Wherefore Jehovah blessed the Shabbat day and hallowed it. Honor thy father and thy mother, that thy days may be long upon the land which Jehovah thy God giveth thee. Thou shalt not murder, thou shalt not commit adultery, thou shalt not steal, thou shalt not bear false witness against thy neighbor, thou shalt not covet thy neighbor's house, thou shalt not covet thy neighbor's wife, nor his manservant, nor his maidservant, nor his ox, nor his ass, nor anything that is thy neighbor. Hallelujah. Baruch Yehovah Hashem Nazar Kale Abo Yisrael. Beko Hashem Liben, Lo Hafal Devare God Miko. Baruch Hatov Hashem Liben Beyam Moshe Abdo. Ehi Yehovah Elohim, Baruch Hashem Hayat Avotim. Ayah Spain, Le'al Yishem. That I told them about them. Allow Allah to come back out that I found. But you go mistletoe. We're too quiet. Please my time. Hashem is the quiet head. I'm going to tell you. Whether you look at it, Hashem hit the 19. Lift there your whole property. El Yehovah Elohim, do your power like that. I saw this part I go, this part I go, Yisrael. The body only your boat. The mind I can't be hot. King Yehovah, who had Elohim. Ain't ho. But how y'all know I can't still be Yehovah Elohim. Not a pet people quiet. But it's more missile time. I know what I say. Hallelujah. Oh, give thanks to Yehovah for his good. Oh, give thanks to God of God. Oh, give thanks to the Lord of Lords. From the Lord do great wonders. From the by wisdom made the heavens. From the laid out earth above the waters. From the make great lights. The sun rule by day. The moon and stars rule by night. From the struck down Egypt when they first born. And brought out Israel from among them. With a strong hand and with an outstretched arm. From the body of the Red Sea and took. And made us to pass through the midst of it. Whatever who brought on this army, the Red Sea. Who led his people through the wilderness. From the struck down great kings. And slew famous kings. King of King of the Amorites. And old King of Bashan. And gave the land as a heritage. A heritage to Israel, his servant. Delivered us in our lonely state. And rescued us from our enemies. Gives food to all flesh. Oh, give thanks to the God of heaven. Shema Yisrael, Yahweh Elohim, Yahweh Echad. Baruch Shem Kevod, Ma'akuto Le'olah. Hear, O Yisrael, Yahweh our God, Yahweh is one. Blessed be his name, whose glorious kingdom is forever and ever. We call Yisrael Yibru. Hallelujah. We pay homage. Elohei Abraham. Elohei Yitzchak. Elohei Yaakov. Hallelujah. This is how we look unto Yahweh, hoping and praying that on the conclusion of this day, that the Most High God will look down upon each and every one of us and grant us a blessing. Wadaber Yahweh El Moshe Lemor. Daber El Aharon We El Benal Lemor. Kol Tabarku El Benei Yisrael Amor Lahem. And Yahweh spoke unto Moshe, saying, speak unto Aharon unto his son, saying, on this wise ye shall bless the children of Yisrael. Ye shall say unto them, Yevareka Yehovah Yishmareka, Yair Yehovah Panahuleka Wikuneka, Yisai Yehovah Panahuleka Yasemleka Shalom. May Yehovah bless thee and keep thee. May Yehovah make his face to shine upon thee and be gracious unto thee. May Yehovah lift up his countenance upon thee and may he grant thee peace. Hallelujah. 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 Okay, Shabbat Shalom. We need to have a brief meeting for those who are members. We need all members to come in here immediately. But before we do that, the announcements for everyone is to those that would like to donate, you can make your donations out to D.C.B. 382 Hamilton Avenue, Brooklyn, New York, 11231. 11231. That's for everyone out there that would like to make a donation. Also, leave that out because I need it. Also for the people who like to donate, you can donate on the super chat, which is the $ underneath the chat right there that you see in the video on YouTube. We need all your donations. All your donations help us to continue to do the things that we do. Also, to the people that are donating, Cash App is working again, 347-622-9090. Once again, if you'd like to donate on Cash App, 347-622-9090. That's for the people on Cash App. Also, PayPal, info@DCB.org. info@DCB.org. That's for everyone on PayPal. So, also, is there something else going on? Is there any announcements that need to be made? Any birthdays? Any birthdays? No birthdays? I think it's Lisa's birthday. Who? Whose birthday, Ima? Sael. Where's Sael at? Lisa, isn't it your birthday then? Your birthday just passed? Tees.
Oh, what's Tees' birthday?
But she's not in here.
She bounced?
Yeah. Who else's birthday? That's it? Sael's birthday. Oh, Tees is back there.
T. Sonia.
And Sa'el, where's Sa'el at?
Give thanks and praise. Come give thanks and praise. Give thanks and praise.
It's your birthday? Let's go. Ready?
Come on, sis, let's go.
Let's go, Sa'el. Come front and center, man. Come front and center. Let's go. Here we go. You ready? I know you know how to dance. Man. You're not going to play drums, you're going to dance. Here we go. Yo, mule. People have to be here. Next week. Oh, next week. All right. So, who's the people that donated?
The Shield Kershaw.
The Shield Kershaw, thank you for your donation.
Yamira Prescott.
Yamira Prescott, thank you for your donation.
Ze'ev Benyamin.
Ze'ev Benyamin, thank you for your donation.
Yeah.
That's it?
Yeah, more Aaron.
Moria Ron. All right. Make sure you give the total of Moria Ron to Chief O'Quan. Kane. Kane. Oh yes, come up. I heard you had an announcement. Come up here. Huh? Chief O'Quan is not here, so we'll get his son to do it. Oh, Prince Ariel is here. Prince Ariel will take it. Make your announcements. I heard about it. Go up there. Yes.
Shalom, family. Okay. So, my name is Pride. Everyone who doesn't know. I'm part of a nonprofit organization in Staten Island, where I'm from. I'm a part of the National Council of Negro Women on Staten Island, and we have a scholarship for high school students. And it's eligible for students who are in high school from 9 to 12, and it's also New Jersey as well. And you can apply. I have a sample of the application with me if you want to see, go through it. And so I have the flyer here, and then on the back, we also have information about if you come out Thursday, February 20th, at 10 a.m. to 12 noon. If you feel like you don't have the qualifications for this type of scholarship, we have other scholarships that we also give out. So if you're an athlete, or if you can draw, if you can paint, whatever that your skill is, we have accommodations for those scholarships for high school students only.
From 9 to 12.
From 9 to 12. Great. So even if you say you're in 9th grade and you apply and you get it, you can apply again next year, and we do it every year.
You get some
every
money.
year you're in high school, you can apply for the scholarship.
I need an application.
So I have flyers. If you want to give me your email, I can email you the application.
Okay.
Also, we could reach out to the school that your children go to, and then we'll have a meeting with the counselors of the school, and we go do it that way. So I'm on 2 committees, the faith-based committee, and so I said that I'm going to give this application out to the temples and the Israelite community. So I want you guys to be inclusive of everything that goes to
She said she'll email it.
Okay. Yes, I can. I can, as long as it's high school grades. So if you're homeschooled and you fit the criteria, you can absolutely apply. You can get the money. But also, like I said, if you come out Thursday, February 20th, we have other scholarship applications for other opportunities for students. So I can give out my number, my email, whatever you need. Any other application for scholarships, I'll definitely reach out to you.
That sounds great. So That's a perfect opportunity for those of you that have high school students and you're under you. Grab an application from the sister. Her name is Hope. Pride and hope go together.
That's good.
I don't know why I was thinking hope. Sister Pride. Put that in my bag.
Open pride.
So it's very important. And she's our inside connection. She's our inside connection. We're going to leave it at
I'm
that.
trying to put y'all in places.
So the people online are eligible too. We could.
Yeah, New York and New Jersey. So if you want, put your school up in the app. On the comment section or your email address, and I can deliver.
All right. So the people online, what you could do is send me your email. Send your email to info@baitdcb.org. Info@baitdcb.org if you're interested in the scholarship application. All right.
Anybody have a pen that they're not using? I see.
All right, so to the people online, we're going to say goodbye right now. And to all the members in the other room, can you please come over to this room?